The grand chamber of the Galactic Council stretched impossibly high with curved walls that shimmered like oil on water. Thousands of hovering platforms held representatives from across the known universe species, so varied that the human eye struggled to comprehend them all. Ambassador Elaine Morgan stood at the center platform, her heart pounding in her chest but her face betraying nothing. No human had ever stood before the Council before. Their small exploration fleet had been intercepted at the edge of what they now knew was protected space. Their first contact with alien life had not been a single species but an overwhelming multitude. The head counselor, a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies, looked down at her. The voice that filled the chamber seemed to come from everywhere at once. "So Earth sends its representative at last," the words translated perfectly in her ear implant. "The rumors of your species have spread far despite your isolation." Elaine took a breath, steadying herself. The 3 other human diplomats stood behind her, silent as instructed. She alone would speak for humanity. "We come seeking knowledge and friendship." Ambassador Morgan replied, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. "We had no way of knowing this region was restricted." Laughter rippled through the assembly, 1,000 different sounds from chirps to low rumbles. None of it sounded friendly. The Valerian representative, a serpentine creature, with feathers instead of scales, slithered forward on its platform. "They claim ignorance, yet their ships carry weapons powerful enough to destroy a moon." More murmurs spread through the chamber. Elaine felt sweat forming at her temples but did not flinch. "We arm ourselves, because we do not know what we might encounter," she said simply. Any responsible spacefaring species would do the same. The head counselor raised a hand, silencing the chamber. "You stand accused of violating sovereign territory, developing restricted technologies, and refusing preliminary scans of your homeworld. All serious offenses." This was the moment. Everything hinged on humanity had been preparing for this confrontation for years, since their long-range sensors first detected the massive energy signatures of Council Space. Ambassador Morgan reached into her pocket and withdrew a small crystal disk. The gesture caused a dozen security drones to swoop toward her, but the head counselor waved them back. "I have brought something to share with the Council," Elaine said, holding up the disk. "If I may." The head counselor nodded, and the disk floated from her hand to hover at the center of the chamber. A beam of light shot upward from it, expanding into a 3-dimensional star map. "These are the incursions into Earth space over the past 50 years," Elaine said calmly. Red points of light began to appear throughout the map, hundreds of them clustering around a small blue planet. "We have been aware of your observations for decades, yet we chose not to respond with hostility." The chamber erupted into chaos. The Valerian representative hissed loudly. "Impossible. Your species lacks the technology to detect our scout ships." Elaine smiled slightly. "Our technology evolves quickly, and we are very good at keeping secrets." The head counselor studied the map with interest. "You claim these were unauthorized observations." "Not unauthorized," Ambassador Morgan corrected. "Unacknowledged. There is a difference." A new representative pushed their platform forward. A bulbous creature with tentacles and glowing spots that pulsed with its words. "This changes nothing. The humans have clearly been developing quantum weapons. Their ships carry the energy signatures." Ambassador Morgan nodded. "We developed defensive capabilities after detecting your presence. That seems reasonable. Does the Council not value self-preservation?" For 3 hours, the questioning continued. Representatives from dozens of species demanded explanations for human behavior, their technology, their apparent secrecy. Elaine answered each question directly, never apologizing, never backing down. Finally, the head counselor raised all 4 hands. "The Council will deliberate. The humans will remain in the observation chamber." Elaine and her team were escorted from the central platform. The whispers followed them. Many species had never seen humans before. Some seemed curious, others openly hostile. In the small chamber designated for them, the diplomats finally relaxed slightly. "How do you think it went?" asked Nora Wilson, the youngest of the team, her dark skin glistening with nervous sweat. "Exactly as we expected," Elaine replied, removing her formal jacket. Admiral Palmer was right. They respect strength, not submission. Marcus Lee, the security specialist, nodded grimly. Still, the Valerians seem particularly hostile. Their fleet movements have been aggressive for years. The fourth diplomat, Hannah Green, unfolded a small device scanning the room for listening devices. Finding none, she spoke softly. Phase 1 complete. The intelligence we gathered is invaluable. 57 distinct species, multiple factions within the Council. They are not as united as they want us to believe. Elaine moved to the small window that overlooked the Council planet, a massive ringed world with sprawling cities covering its surface. We have one chance to position humanity correctly in this new reality, she said. If we appear too weak, they will subjugate us. Too aggressive, they will destroy. The door slid open, silently revealing a small green-skinned being with large black eyes. The Council requests your return. Ambassador, back in the central chamber, the mood had changed. The platforms had rearranged themselves with clear divisions. Elaine noted which species clustered together valuable intelligence about alliances. The head counselor spoke. This council has governed interstellar relations for 10,000 years. We have overseen the rise and fall of empires, the birth and death of stars. We have protected developing worlds from exploitation and prevented numerous wars. Elaine waited, knowing this preamble was part of the diplomatic ritual. Yet occasionally, a species emerges that does not follow the expected path. The counselor continued. Humanity appears to be one such species. You detected our presence but did not announce yourselves. You developed technology at an alarming rate, yet you come before us now, not in war, but in dialogue. The counselor leaned forward slightly. Ambassador Morgan, the Council has reached a preliminary decision. Earth will be granted probationary status. You may establish an embassy on Council Prime. Your ships may travel designated routes only. Your technology will be monitored. It was more than they had hoped for. But Elaine kept her expression neutral. We accept these terms with gratitude, she said with a slight bow. But we request one modification. Audible gasps echoed through the chamber. No probationary species had ever dared request modifications. The head counselor tilted its massive head. You are in no position to negotiate. Human Elaine smiled. Earth requests the right to establish a cultural exchange program. Representatives from Council worlds may visit Earth, and humans may visit your worlds. Understanding cannot exist without exposure. The chamber went silent. Then, surprisingly, the Valerian representative laughed. This human has courage. The head counselor conferred briefly with nearby representatives before responding. Your request is granted with restrictions. All exchanges will be supervised. Military installations will remain off-limits to visitors. Ambassador Morgan bowed deeply. Earth looks forward to joining the galactic community. As she straightened, she caught the eye of a representative who had remained silent throughout the proceedings, a being of apparently liquid crystal who nodded almost imperceptibly. The first alliance had been made before they even left the chamber. Phase 2 was already beginning. The human embassy on Council Prime took shape over the following weeks. A modest structure compared to the towering crystalline spires of the established species. Yet its simple design drew curious visitors. The straight lines and practical layout reflected human sensibilities, functional, without sacrificing beauty. Ambassador Morgan surveyed the newly completed central hall as staff arranged furniture and installed communication systems. This would be the first permanent human outpost beyond their solar system, a historic achievement that felt both triumphant and precarious. A soft chime announced a visitor. Elaine turned to see the crystalline being who had nodded to her during the council session. Its form shifted constantly like water, catching light yet somehow maintained a humanoid shape. Ambassador, the being spoke, its voice like wind through crystal. I am Luminara, representative of the Prismatic Collective. We have been observing your species with great interest, Elaine offered, the customary council greeting pressing her palm outward. Representative Luminara. We are honored by your visit. Please join me. They moved to a sitting area designed to accommodate various physiologies. Luminara flowed into a seat, its form adapting perfectly. You caused quite a sensation in the council chamber, the crystalline being said. Many believed humans would be immediately quarantined. Your diplomatic approach was unexpected. Elaine smiled slightly. We studied what information we could gather. About council proceedings, aggression would have confirmed their fears. Submission would have marked us as easily controlled. We chose a third path. Fascinating Luminara, rippled with what might have been amusement. The prismatic collective has long believed the council requires new perspectives. Most species simply accept their assigned place. You questioned it on your first day. This was the opening Elaine had hoped for. The intelligence division had identified the prismatic collective as potential allies, a species known for their neutrality and ancient wisdom. We believe cooperation benefits everyone. Ambassador Morgan said carefully. But cooperation between equals not between master and servant. Luminara shifted form slightly. What you may not fully understand is that some within the council fear humanity specifically. Your rate of advancement troubles them. Earth progressed from primitive flight to interstellar travel in less than 2 centuries, a pace unmatched in council records. That was information worth having. Elaine kept her expression neutral. Different species develop at different rates. The crystalline being seemed to study her. The question many are asking, Ambassador, is why humans advanced so quickly. Some theorize external influence, others suggest your species possesses unique cognitive abilities. The Valerians believe humans were designed as weapons by some unknown power. Elaine laughed, genuinely amused. We simply faced different evolutionary pressures. Our world shaped us as all worlds shape their children. Luminara leaned forward slightly. There are others who would speak with you, ambassador species who see potential in humanity rather than threat. The established order has grown comfortable. Perhaps too comfortable. The door chimed again. Hannah Green entered. With apologies. Ambassador, the Valerian delegation has arrived earlier than scheduled. Elaine nodded, understanding the warning. The Valerians had been their most vocal opponents in the council. Their early arrival was a deliberate power play. Show them and please. Hannah Luminara rose, its crystalline form catching the light. We will continue this discussion soon, Ambassador. Until then, know that you have friends here, even if they remain hidden for now. The crystalline being flowed toward a side exit, passing the entering Valerian delegation. The serpentine alien seemed to recoil slightly from Luminara. A reaction Elaine noted with interest. Ambassador Morgan. The lead Valerian spoke, its feathered scales rippling. With color, I am Ceresk, Prime Diplomatic Overseer. Our visit is routine, merely to ensure your embassy meets council regulations. Of course, Overseer. Elaine said, gesturing around the space. We have followed all guidelines precisely. The 3 Valerians moved through the embassy, their sinuous bodies flowing with unsettling grace. Their multifaceted eyes missed nothing. Scanning technology, documenting layouts, Elaine accompanied them, maintaining pleasant conversation while revealing nothing of importance. In the communications center, Ceresk paused before the main terminal. Your technology is primitive by council standards, Elaine nodded. We use what we have available to us. As a probationary species, we accept certain limitations. The Valerian made a sound. That might have been skeptical. Yet your ships contained quantum entanglement communicators. Another contradiction. Ambassador. Morgan smiled diplomatically. Those ships were experimental prototypes, not representative of our general technology. Level Ceresk moved closer, towering over her, its feathered hood expanding slightly. The Valerian Council contingent believes your species is hiding its true capabilities. You appeared too suddenly, developed too quickly. There are anomalies in your historical record. Elaine met the alien's gaze steadily. Every species has its own path. Overseer. Ours led us here to seek peaceful relations with the galactic community. The Valerian's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. You speak well for a primitive species, but know this, Ambassador. We are watching Earth closely. Very closely. After the inspection concluded, Hannah joined Elaine in her private office, activating security protocols. that would block any surveillance. The Valerians planted 17 monitoring devices, she reported. Our team is feeding them controlled information as planned. Elaine nodded. We expected as much. What about Luminara? Hannah brought up data on her tablet. The Prismatic Collective is ancient, possibly older than the Council itself. They rarely engage directly with newer species. Their interest in us is significant. Marcus Lee entered, securing the door behind him. Admiral Palmer sends an update. Earth defenses are at full readiness. The fleet remains dispersed and concealed. Our deep space monitors have detected increased Council traffic near the Sol system. Elaine processed the information. The pieces were moving on the board faster than anticipated. Ambassador Wilson is scheduled to address the full Council tomorrow with our formal integration proposal that should distract attention from whatever they're planning. Near Earth, Marcus looked concerned. Should we delay? No, Elaine said firmly. We proceed as planned. The more fronts we engage on, the harder it becomes for any single faction to act against us. Nora entered last, bringing refreshments that she placed on the table. Their chemical composition will mask our biorhythms from sensors, she explained. Then she activated a small device on her wrist, displaying a holographic star chart. The Prismatic Collective has provided coordinates, she said quietly. Apparently, there are other non-Council-aligned species who wish to meet. They suggest sending an unofficial representative. Elaine studied the coordinates. They were far from Council space in a region marked as uninhabitable on official charts. A perfect location for a clandestine meeting. Prepare a shuttle, she instructed Marcus. I want you to go. Officially, you're returning to Earth for personal reasons. Use the diplomatic corridor, then divert once past monitoring range. He nodded. Understanding the risk if caught, Earth could lose its probationary status. That's why we won't get caught, Hannah said with confidence. The shuttle has been modified with tech the Council doesn't know we possess. Yet Elaine moved to the window, looking out at the sprawling Council city. Billions of beings from thousands of worlds, all governed by laws and traditions established millennia before humans looked to the stars. Yet here they were playing a dangerous game of interstellar politics, their existence as a free species hanging in the balance. We have one advantage, she said quietly. They underestimate us. Let them continue to do so. The others nodded, understanding. The strategy: humanity would present one face to the Council, humble, grateful for inclusion while quietly building alliances and gathering intelligence. Their survival depended on it. The game had only just begun. Marcus guided the diplomatic shuttle through the designated corridor, his fingers dancing across the controls with practiced precision. The sleek vessel bore Council clearance markers, temporary transportation for the humans, until they constructed their own ships to approved specifications, or so the Council believed. Once beyond the monitoring buoys that marked Council space, he activated the secondary systems. Hidden propulsion technology engaged, while the official engines powered down. Stealth field enveloped the shuttle, rendering it nearly invisible to conventional scanners. The coordinates provided by the Prismatic Collective led to an asteroid field surrounding a dying star. No habitable planets existed here, according to official records, making it the perfect meeting place for those who wished to remain unseen. The shuttle slipped between massive space rocks, some larger than Earth cities, their surfaces scarred by ancient impacts. The navigation computer tracked a specific frequency pulsing from deep within the field. Following it, Marcus guided the shuttle into a narrow opening in one particularly large asteroid. Inside, the passage widened, revealing an artificial cavern. Lights embedded in the walls illuminated a docking area where several ships of unfamiliar design were already moored. None bore Council registration marks. As Marcus secured the shuttle, a welcoming party approached. 3 distinctly different species moved together with apparent familiarity. One resembled an upright feline with copper fur and 6 limbs. Another appeared almost human but with skin that shifted colors like an octopus. The third was insectoid with compound eyes and translucent wings. Welcome, human, the feline being spoke, its voice surprisingly melodic. I am Tarek of the Faloran Exodus. This is Meridia of the Chameleon Conclave and Rick 6 of the Hive Collective. We represent the Fringe Alliance. Marcus followed diplomatic protocol, extending his hand palm outward. Marcus Lee of Earth, I come, on behalf of Ambassador Morgan. The beings led him deeper into the asteroid, which proved to be a sprawling complex. Hidden within the rock was an entire outpost, with living quarters, research facilities, and a central meeting chamber. Their other representatives waited. A dozen species, all unknown to human records. The chamber fell silent as Marcus entered. All eyes focused on him with varying expressions of curiosity, suspicion, and hope. Tarak addressed the gathering. The human has arrived as promised by our prismatic allies. A new being stepped forward, tall and ethereal, with translucent skin through which complex circulatory systems were visible. I am Elder Velan of the Mist Worlds. For 10,000 cycles we have existed beyond council awareness. Our worlds were deemed uninhabitable. Our species considered extinct. We have watched humanity with great interest. Marcus maintained his diplomatic composure, though his heart raced. These were species that had successfully hidden from council detection. For millennia, a feat. Earth might need to learn. Elder Velan, we appreciate your invitation. Earth is still learning the complexities of galactic politics. The Elder gestured to a circular table where representatives took their places. Let us speak plainly. Then the Council fears humanity not for what you are, but for what you might become. You advance too quickly. Your adaptation rate threatens the established order. Marcus nodded. This much. We suspected. Meridia, the chameleon-like being, spoke her skin, rippling with blues and greens. The Council was founded with noble purpose. To prevent interstellar wars, to protect developing species from exploitation, but over millennia it has become rigid, controlling power concentrated among the founding species, like the Valerians. What began as protection became domination, added Rixix. The insectoid, its mandibles clicking softly. Species that develop too quickly are hobbled, their technology restricted, their expansion limited, all in the name of stability. Marcus looked around the table. These beings represented an entirely different perspective on galactic society. One Earth had not anticipated. Why reveal yourselves to us now? Tarak's copper fur rippled. Because you have already drawn their attention. Your presence creates opportunity. The Council is focused on Earth, monitoring your embassy, tracking your ships. This gives us a chance to move more freely. And more practically, Meridia added, Earth represents the first new spacefaring power to emerge in over 1,000 years. Your perspective is valuable. Your technology developed along different paths than Council species. Marcus considered their words carefully. What exactly does the Fringe Alliance propose? Elder Velan's translucent hand passed over the table, activating a holographic display. A map of the galaxy appeared with Council space highlighted in blue, fringe territories in green. The green areas were scattered widely, many in regions marked as uninhabitable or dangerous on Council. Charts. We propose an exchange of knowledge, Elder Velan said. Technology, cultural understanding, navigational data. The Council maintains power through information control. They decide what species know about the galaxy. We offer an alternative perspective. The implications were enormous. Earth, struggling to establish itself within Council restrictions, suddenly presented with a backdoor to greater knowledge and possibly advanced technology. But the risks were equally great if the Council discovers this. Meeting Marcus said they could revoke our probationary status. Quarantine. Earth Rixix chittered softly. They already distrust you, human. They search for reasons to contain your species. This meeting changes little, but gives us options. Marcus thought. He studied the galactic map, noting regions where fringe territories bordered Council space. What guarantees can you offer that this alliance serves Earth's interests, not just your own? The representatives exchanged glances. Then Tarak spoke with newfound respect. You are wise to question us, human. Most new species accept any offered hand without consideration. Elder. Velan nodded. We offer no guarantees. Only opportunity. Each of our species joined the Fringe for different reasons. Some fled, Council restrictions. Others were never discovered. Some, like the Prismatic Collective, maintained dual presence within and beyond Council awareness. All made their choice freely, as Earth must do. Marcus understood the subtext. They would share information, but Earth would decide its own path. A partnership, not a protectorate. Before responding, he activated his secure communicator, transmitting encrypted data to Earth, along with the conversation transcript. He included his personal assessment. The Fringe Alliance represented both opportunity and risk, potential allies in a galaxy more complex than humans had imagined. Ambassador Morgan's response came within minutes. Proceed with information exchange, Level 1 protocols, no binding commitments. Marcus turned back to the assembled representatives. Earth is interested in learning more about the galaxy beyond Council perspective. We propose, beginning with historical and navigational exchanges. The meeting continued for hours. Representatives sharing carefully selected information about their species, their territories, their technologies. Marcus noted how each revealed enough to demonstrate value while withholding critical details. A diplomatic dance Earth would need to master quickly. As the gathering concluded, Elder Velan approached Marcus privately. The Council fears what it cannot control human. That is why they fear you. Your species adapts quickly, not just technologically but conceptually. You embrace new ideas where older species resist change. Marcus nodded, considering. The Council sees that as dangerous. The Elder's translucent features shifted in what might have been a smile. We see it as necessary. The galaxy is changing, whether the Council acknowledges it or not. New threats emerge beyond known space. Stagnation leads to vulnerability. Humanity may play a crucial role in what comes next. As Marcus prepared the shuttle for departure, Tarek provided a small crystal data storage device, coordinates for secure communication. Channels, he explained, and locations of fringe outposts where humans would find sanctuary if needed. The implied message was clear. The Fringe Alliance expected the situation with the Council to deteriorate. Marcus guided the shuttle back toward Council. Space, his mind racing with implications. Earth now had potential allies beyond the Council structure, but also greater risk. The game had become exponentially more complex. Whatever happened next, humanity was no longer alone in the shadows. The Council chamber buzzed with tension as Ambassador Nora Wilson stood at the central platform. Her presence had been requested without explanation, an unusual break in protocol. The young diplomat maintained her composure, though concern gnawed at her. The full Council rarely convened for probationary species matters. The head counselor appeared different today. The usual ceremonial robes replaced with more formal attire that suggested a judicial proceeding. Beside him, the Valerian representative, Ceresk, displayed agitated movements, his feathered scales flickering rapidly between colors. Ambassador Wilson, the head counselor, began. A serious matter has been brought to our attention. A human vessel was detected in restricted space beyond your designated travel corridors. Nora kept her expression neutral, feeling the weight of countless alien eyes upon her. She had been briefed on Marcus's return only an hour before this summons. The timing suggested the Fringe Alliance meeting had indeed been detected, though perhaps not its purpose. I will need to consult with my government for specific information about our vessel movements. Ambassador Wilson replied smoothly. However, I remind the Council that as newcomers to galactic navigation, our pilots may occasionally misinterpret boundary markers. Ceresk hissed loudly, his hood expanding. The vessel disappeared from all monitoring systems. Its trajectory indicated deliberate evasive maneuvers. This was no navigation error, Nora noticed, several Council representatives shifting uncomfortably. The accusation clearly made some uneasy. Perhaps not all Council members aligned with the Valerian position. The Council has been generous with humanity. The head counselor stated, Your probationary status grants certain privileges but requires adherence to regulations. Violations carry serious consequences. Ambassador Wilson nodded with appropriate gravity. The Earth government takes Council regulations seriously. We request details of the alleged violation, including coordinates and timestamps, so we may investigate fully. A subtle delaying tactic, buying time for Marcus to fully debrief Ambassador Morgan and prepare contingencies. The head counselor waved a hand, activating a holographic display. The recorded flight path of the human shuttle appeared, showing its council-approved departure, then its deviation before disappearing from tracking systems. Before Nora could respond, another council member moved their platform forward. A massive being with features like a terrestrial walrus but with iridescent tusks and 6 eyes. Point of procedure, the being rumbled. This council has not formally voted to monitor human vessels beyond designated corridors. Such surveillance may constitute a violation of probationary rights. Murmurs spread through the chamber. The Valerians had overplayed their hand, revealing monitoring operations that apparently lacked full council approval. Saresk's scales darkened with emotion. The Valerian Protectorate acts to maintain security when the full council moves too slowly. More representatives joined the discussion, some defending the monitoring, others questioning its legality. The unified front. Nora had expected fractured before her eyes, revealing political divisions within the council itself. Ambassador Wilson remained silent, letting the council debate internally, a strategy Ambassador Morgan had taught her. Sometimes the best action is no action at all. Let them reveal themselves. Finally, the head counselor raised all 4 hands, silencing the chamber. This procedural matter will be addressed separately. The question before us remains: did a human vessel violate travel restrictions, and if so, what response is warranted? Nora recognized her moment. Esteemed counselors, I propose a simple resolution. Earth will investigate this matter thoroughly and provide a full report. If violations occurred, we will implement additional training for our pilots and navigation officers to prevent future incidents. A Valerian representative hissed in obvious displeasure. Such a minor consequence for a major violation. The human vessel may have accessed restricted information or contacted non-council species. A new voice entered the debate. Luminara, of the Prismatic Collective. The crystalline being's platform moved forward, catching light in hypnotic patterns. The Prismatic Collective reminds the Council that humanity is still learning galactic protocols. Luminara's melodic voice filled the chamber. Their inclusion was approved precisely because we value diversity of perspective. Harsh penalties for minor infractions serve no constructive purpose. Nora noted, which representatives nodded in agreement with Luminara. The political landscape becoming clearer. The HFY Council was not monolithic. Different factions with different agendas existed within its structure. The head counselor seemed to consider all perspectives. Ambassador Wilson, your proposal is accepted. Earth will investigate and report back within 1 standard cycle. However, be aware that the Council views this matter seriously. Further violations may result in review of Earth's probationary status. Nora bowed respectfully. Earth appreciates the Council's wisdom and patience. We will not disappoint. Your trust. As the session concluded, representatives departed on their floating platforms. Some nodded to Nora, others deliberately avoided acknowledgement. The political ripples from this confrontation would spread quickly. Luminara approached as Nora prepared to leave. The crystalline being's form seemed more solid today, less fluid, perhaps an indication of emotional state. You handled that well. Human, Luminara said quietly. The Valerians expected you to become defensive. Your calm response disrupted their strategy. Nora smiled slightly. Thank you for your support. Representative Luminara, Earth values the Prismatic Collective's perspective. The crystalline being shifted subtly. You should be aware, Ambassador, that today's session was observed by more than just council members. Nora maintained her diplomatic expression, though her pulse quickened. Observed. Many eyes watch council proceedings. Luminara continued. Some belonging to species you will never see in this chamber. They watch and evaluate whether humanity will be a force for change or merely another voice absorbed into the existing order. The implication was clear. The Fringe Alliance had been monitoring the proceedings. The meeting with Marcus was part of a larger assessment of Earth's potential. Back at the human embassy, Nora found Ambassador Morgan reviewing the data crystal Marcus had brought from the Fringe meeting. The embassy's security systems were at maximum scanning continuously for surveillance devices. Morgan looked up. As Nora entered, her expression serious. How bad? Not as bad as expected, Nora reported. The council is divided on how to respond. The Valerians pushed for harsh measures, but others advocated for leniency. Morgan nodded thoughtfully. Then our assessment was correct. The council is not unified in its approach to Earth. That gives us room to maneuver. Hannah entered carrying reports. The data from the Fringe Alliance is remarkable, she said. Technologies the council has suppressed historical records that contradict official narratives, maps of regions beyond council space, and confirmation of something we suspected, Marcus added. Earth was not discovered by accident. The council has been monitoring humanity for centuries. Debates about intervention in our development go back to our Industrial Revolution. Morgan absorbed this information, the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Both the Council and the Fringe had agendas involving Earth. Each seeing humanity as a potential asset were caught. Between powerful forces, Nora observed. No, Morgan corrected. We're positioned between them. There's a difference. One is passive, the other active. We maintain diplomatic relations with the Council while quietly building connections with the Fringe. We commit to neither. Fully, Hannah looked concerned. Playing both sides is dangerous. Not both sides, Morgan replied. All sides, including our own Earth's interests, come first. Always. But those interests include understanding the full galactic landscape. Before committing to any single path, she moved to the central display, bringing up the star map, showing Council territory, Fringe outposts, and Earth's position. We have an advantage. Neither the Council nor the Fringe fully appreciates humanity developed in isolation. Our perspective is truly unique, uninfluenced by either faction. Our technology evolved along different paths. What's our next move? Marcus asked. Morgan's expression was resolute. We continue as planned. Cultural exchanges with Council worlds. Provide cover for information gathering. We respond to the travel violation with appropriate diplomatic contrition while preparing secondary channels of communication with the Fringe. And we accelerate the Earth defense initiatives, she added quietly. The data from the Fringe confirms our suspicions. The galaxy is more dangerous than the Council acknowledges. New threats emerge beyond known space. We must be prepared regardless of political alignments. The team dispersed each to their assigned tasks. The diplomatic dance would continue growing more complex with each new revelation. But humanity was adaptable, learning quickly. Perhaps too quickly for the Council's comfort. That night, Ambassador Morgan stood alone on the embassy balcony looking up at unfamiliar stars. The fate of her species balanced on decisions made in these crucial early days of galactic integration. She felt the weight of that responsibility, but also exhilaration. Humanity had reached the stars only to find them filled with ancient politics and hidden agendas. But in that complexity lay opportunity. The game was just beginning. 3 months after Earth's introduction to the Council, the Cultural Exchange Program launched with careful orchestration. The first alien visitors arrived on Earth while selected humans departed for Council worlds, a diplomatic milestone celebrated across both human and Council media. Behind the public spectacle, a different exchange proceeded far more quietly. Human intelligence operatives embedded within the cultural program gathered information, while Earth scientists studied alien technology. Under the guise of cultural appreciation, in her private office at the Council Embassy, Ambassador Morgan reviewed reports from these covert operations. The intelligence painted an increasingly complex picture of galactic politics. The Council's unified facade concealed deep divisions, centuries-old alliances strained by emerging challenges. A secure communication chimed on her private terminal. Admiral Kate Palmer appeared, her expression grim. The Valerian fleet is on the move. Elaine 17 battlecruisers have departed their homeworld on divergent vectors. We can't determine their destination. Morgan frowned. That's significantly more activity than usual. Any correlation with Council proceedings? Palmer nodded. The Valerian representative called for an emergency session yesterday. Our sources couldn't determine the agenda. Classified to highest levels, that can't be coincidence. Morgan said, "We need eyes in that session." "Impossible," Palmer replied. "They've implemented quantum security protocols. Even the Prismatic Collective can't penetrate those." Morgan considered their options. "Send word to our fringe contacts. See if they have better intelligence and accelerate Project Sentinel. We may need those defenses sooner than anticipated." The Admiral's image flickered. "Already done. The first satellites are deployed cloaked as weather monitoring platforms. The Council inspectors never looked twice," Good Morgan said. "Now we wait." That evening, a diplomatic reception at the Council Prime Central Plaza brought together representatives from dozens of species. A celebration of cultural diversity that served as cover for countless private conversations. Ambassador Morgan moved through the gathering accepting congratulations on the exchange program's success while carefully noting which species interacted with which political alliances visible in social groupings. Luminara approached its crystalline form, particularly radiant under the plaza lights. "The cultural exchange program is quite successful. Ambassador, the Council rarely sees such enthusiasm for new initiatives." Morgan smiled, enjoying the genuine rapport she'd developed with the crystalline being. Earth has always valued diversity. Learning about new cultures is a fundamental human drive. Luminara shifted subtly. "Your species continues to surprise many on the Council. The Valerians especially seem concerned by how quickly humans have adapted to galactic society." The mention of the Valerians was deliberate. Morgan knew the Prismatic Collective rarely spoke without purpose. "Change can be unsettling to established powers," Morgan replied diplomatically. "Indeed." Luminara agreed, particularly when that change cannot be controlled. "The Valerians have called an emergency council session tomorrow. A matter of grave importance, they claim." Morgan kept her expression neutral. "I wasn't aware of this." Luminara's crystalline surface rippled. "The session is restricted highest clearance. But perhaps you should ensure Earth has representation." The warning was clear. Something significant was happening. Morgan excused herself and made her way to a quiet alcove, activating her secure communicator. "Hannah, I need you to contact Nora immediately. Have her request observer status at tomorrow's emergency session. Site Regulation 73.6 Probationary Species Rights to Observation, when matters may affect their status." Within her crystalline form, Luminara watched the human ambassador with something approximating admiration. The Prismatic Collective had existed since before the Council's founding. They had watched countless species rise and fall, some absorbed into the Council structure, others relegated to obscurity, a few destroyed when deemed threats. Humans were different. Their adaptability extended beyond technology to politics and culture. They learned quickly, formed alliances strategically, and most importantly, questioned everything. The Council had never encountered a species that so perfectly balanced cooperation and independence. The next morning, Council Prime's central tower bustled with unusual activity. Security drones patrolled in increased numbers. Representatives hurried toward the chamber with expressions of concern. Ambassador Wilson stood at the observer entrance, her credentials displayed. The Valerian security officer blocked her path. "This session is restricted human. No observers permitted." Nora smiled professionally, maintaining calm regulation. 73.6 guarantees probationary species observation rights when matters may affect their status. I've filed the proper request. The Valerian scales darkened with irritation. Regulations can be overridden during security emergencies. "I have Council authorization," Ambassador Wilson insisted, producing a document bearing the head counselor's seal. The Valerian examined it with obvious displeasure. The head counselor had indeed authorized human observation. A political maneuver that countermanded Valerian wishes. "Very well," the security officer hissed. "But you will remain in the observer gallery. No recording devices, no communications." The observer gallery, positioned high above the main chamber, offered limited visibility. A deliberate design to minimize information observers could gather. Nora took her position as representatives filed in. Below her, the chamber filled with hundreds of species. Many she recognized, others she had never seen before. Some appeared agitated, others confused. The head counselor called the session to order. The Valerian representative moves to address the Council on a matter of urgent security. A matter concerning Earth-Suresk's platform moved to the central position, his serpentine form towering over the display area. The Valerian Investigation Division has uncovered disturbing evidence. The humans have been communicating with entities outside Council authority. The holographic display activated showing Marcus Lee's shuttle trajectory, followed by images of the asteroid base, detailed scans of the eye. Fringe Alliance representatives. Their ships, their base, the chamber erupted. Representatives shouting questions, demanding explanations. The head counselor struggled to maintain order. Humanity has violated the most basic condition of their probationary status. Suresk continued. They have engaged with rogue elements, the same elements that have undermined Council authority for millennia. This constitutes a direct threat to galactic stability. From her observation position, Nora recorded everything, using implanted tech undetectable to Council scanners. The Valerians had obviously been tracking Marcus despite the stealth technology. A concerning breach of Earth's operational security. The Valerian displayed more evidence, communications intercepts, shuttle scan data, partial records of the meeting itself. The surveillance was far more extensive than Earth had anticipated. We move for immediate quarantine of Earth, Suresk demanded. All human vessels recalled. All cultural exchanges terminated. A security force dispatched to ensure compliance. The vote, when called, revealed deep divisions within the Council. Nearly half supported the Valerian motion. Others called for investigation before action. A few, including the Prismatic Collective, abstained completely. The head counselor announced the result. Earth would be investigated but not quarantined. Pending investigation. Cultural exchanges would continue under heightened security. Human vessels would be restricted to immediate Council Space Ambassador. Wilson departed immediately, transmitting the information to Earth Embassy. Morgan needed to know the Council was fracturing over how to handle humanity, and the Valerians had surveillance capabilities beyond what Earth had believed possible. At the Embassy, Morgan received the news with outward calm, though her mind raced analyzing implications. The Valerians had revealed their extensive surveillance network, but had failed to achieve their objective of Earth's quarantine. A calculated risk that exposed their capabilities without achieving their goal. Why now? She wondered what prompted this escalation. The answer came hours later. A priority message from Admiral Palmer. Earth long-range sensors had detected something massive approaching from beyond the galaxy's edge. Something that didn't match any known signature. Council or Fringe. Morgan understood immediately. The Valerians knew something was coming. They wanted humanity contained before this new development, either to protect Earth or more likely to prevent humans from taking independent action. She activated the embassy's secure communication system, linking simultaneously with Earth Command, the cultural exchange teams, and their Fringe Alliance contacts. The game has changed, she announced. We have a new player on the board. On Earth, Admiral Palmer stood in the underground command center. Massive screens displayed the approaching anomaly. Scientists worked frantically to analyze its composition. Its purpose all, human space vessels were being recalled quietly. Defenses activated under cover of routine exercises. In the Fringe Alliance asteroid base, Elder Velan watched similar readings with ancient eyes. The Mistworlds had seen this before millennia ago. Records lost to all but the oldest species on Council Prime. The Valerian High Command met in secret chambers. Their intelligence network had detected the approaching entity weeks before. The Council would be unprepared, as always. Too slow to act. Effectively the humans, though. The humans might adapt quickly enough to make a difference if allowed to act independently.